Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk with ZSJ. This is a special show this evening, and I'm so delighted to be joined by some other amazing Black women from all across the country. And I wanted to I actually just put out a call, on my social media, because I know how I have been feeling these last couple of weeks, really just in general, for a while. But it's just been a lot for me. I know, just these last couple of weeks with the death of DMX, I have my own connection to his whole story and things like that. And then the death of Black Rob. These two brothers were 50 and 51 years old. Too young, right? And then I got my academic sisters, all kind of, we're going to get into it because we're going to talk about some data too, in terms of Black male life expectancy being, if not the lowest, one of the lowest, maybe next to Native American men in the country, their life expectancy. So I definitely want to dig into that. And then, of course, the verdict for George Floyd. I'm bittersweet because it's finally, you know what I'm saying? Damn, finally. And I'm actually surprised that he was convicted for all three. So and the other thing too is then we have 3 more officers. I feel like they also need to serve time for just standing there and keeping the people who were filming at bay, who could have knocked his ass off of George Floyd. So we are here, and I specifically wanted to center Black women insofar as those of us who are married to Black men. We love Black men. Some of us have sons, children. Some of us, all of us probably have brothers or uncles, dads. Just our connection to the Black men in our lives, and that we have a deep love and appreciation for them. And so I wanted to just tee that up for everybody so you'll know this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it's going to be very conversational. It's not scripted. This is for sisters to just speak whatever's been on their mind too. Because like I said, I know I haven't been the only one, just really kind of just going through it emotionally the last couple of weeks. So without further ado, I want to allow each one of these ladies to introduce themselves to you all, and then we will get right into it. Welcome, everybody. Let's start with Angie.
Hello, world. Hello, my sisters. My name is Angie. I live in California. I've been married to my wonderful Black husband for 15 years. We have a blended family, so we have a total of 7 children. 2 of them I birthed, and then 5 are his. We've got 5 grandkids and 2 great-grandkids. So just happy to be here among some amazing Black women who are doing amazing things as well. And thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. Next is Dr. Heidi Lewis.
First and foremost, thank you, Zakia, for having us here. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak about my relationship with my husband, Antonio Lewis, who I've been with for 18 years. We have a 17-year-old son together, an almost 15-year-old daughter together. And I'm just looking forward to the conversation. And thank you for providing us with the opportunity to share space.
Absolutely. And next is Tiffany Country.
What's up, sis? Again, thank you so much for allowing us to have this space to come and share and fellowship one another. It feels good to see all these beautiful Black queens on the screen that we can, vibe out and relate to one another. I've been married for 1.5 years. I've known my husband. Well, we've dated. We've been together for about 3.5 years, married 1.5 years. He has a son that's 16 that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have a daughter that's 6 that's here with us in Dayton, Ohio. So I'm ready to get into it. Let's go.
Yes. And Karen, you can introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen McLean. I am from Connecticut. Thank you, Sister Zakia, for establishing this platform so that we can have some real talk and share. I have been married to my husband for almost 5 years. We've known each other for 10. And I have inherited beautiful daughters, 3 of them actually to be exact, and three beautiful grandchildren, all girls. So my husband has a bunch of girls. So I'm ready to sit and hash and enjoy the dialogue.
Absolutely. And Nasambi, you're next.
Hey, good evening, everybody. And Zaki, I'm echoing everybody else. Thank you so much for bringing us together tonight. This is going to be great. My name is Nashon Lambright Haynes, and I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. And I've been married for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in June. And my husband and I have known each other since high school, but just recently became reacquainted in the last 3 or 4 years. And I have an adult son who's 24.
And certainly not least, but last, Sister Asia, introduce yourself.
Hello, ladies. It's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So yes, my name is Asia Darko. I currently reside in Dayton, Ohio. I have been married to my husband for 4 years this year. And we currently just had a son. He just turned a year old this past April 15th. And I inherited a daughter. So she's currently not here living with us. She lives in Ghana. But it is an experience having children here and in other places. So I'm just excited to have this conversation.
Yes, I love it. And so I guess I should say my connection as well. So for folks listening, most of y'all know I'm married, but I have been with my husband 8 years and married 6. I said 5 earlier, but we actually been married 6. I'm terrible. But we also have a blended family. We were both previously married. So he has 3 children from his previous marriage, and I had my 1 son from my previous marriage, and then we have 1 child together. So we share 5 children together. And that's definitely an experience. So, woo, let's get into it then. So I guess my first question, and this can just be like popcorn style. So for me, I know like the last couple of weeks specifically have been very hard. It's hard being Black, period. As Black women, you know, it's hard being Black, period. But I feel like, because I'm also in the social justice space, I feel like sometimes when I see these high profile deaths, or like when I see constant state sanctioned violence against Black bodies, police violence, of course, disproportionately impacts Black men, I feel a sense of not doing enough. Like, what is it can I be doing, or others can be doing, where we can stop this? And furthermore, like, how can we protect our children? I just learned a couple of days ago that a 17-year-old black male in Tennessee was killed at school by the police. And that has not like made like full-fledged, like, you know, national attention. So I guess I wanted to just first say, how have you all been able to process everything that's been happening? And I guess specifically with the Derek Chauvin trial, this is last 2 weeks. Like, did you watch? What was your feeling after the verdict? Popcorn, anybody can hop in.
I'll go first. I can tell you that I watched the first day of the trial and broke down. It was just too much to relive, you know. I'm glad that I'm in a space where I've learned how to process trauma and to identify it and know that what my levels are. I watched it was weird because I almost felt like, you know, you were watching Rodney King all over again, you know, and it's crazy to say that I'm old enough to remember that, right? But it felt like that. And I was watching it with my husband. He came home because he said he didn't want to hear the verdict alone. And so to see and hear my husband as a Black man weep, right? We were shocked too. All 3, guilty on all 3. I thought it was going to be 1. I was expecting the least of the 3. But I don't think I have processed it all, Zakiya. I don't think I have completely processed all of this. And then to learn about, Micaiah and then just had Dante, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was so much. And as a mom, it was just a lot, but these last 2 weeks have been a beast as a mother, a wife, a community member, a youth advocate. It's been a lot. And I know that it's going to take some time to work through it.
I would say for me, it's so hard just to not keep the pessimistic view at the forefront. I mean, as you're sitting there watching, no matter what this man could have done, they were going to point, well, there's a possibility that the drug that he could have taken 10 years ago is something that could have killed him at that moment. So to me, it's even while hearing the verdict, you hear guilty, guilty, guilty. It's still the first thing in my mind is, well, how much time? Because it's not going to be enough time. It's not. And to me, it's even more hurtful that you see this guilty and the world is showing guilty, and yet another child, another child, another child. So I'm like, what effect is this guilty really giving me and my future son here any hope that things are going to change? Is this one guilty out of 1,000? Is this progress? Is it not progress? It's so hard for me it's so hurtful. Because I made a post on Facebook not long ago, growing up in a white community, like, your children will never have to face what my child does. And how none of them, as much as they have an opinion about how we're always wrong, none of them could even respond to that by saying, you're right. My child will never face the world like yours will. And it's just a hard thing for me to even consider that, okay, yeah, that was a win. Yeah, it was a win to hear the guilty, but it's still not enough. It's still not enough. Just the circus that went on trying to put this Black man down, no matter what he could have done. You don't know what demons he was facing. And they painted this picture of him to make you forget, like, this man killed him. And that's just where I was at.
I was thinking about, I dialed it back to the George Zimmerman trial, because that was, I think, the first moment that we had that hard of a conversation with both of our kids about that. It had come up, they overheard it. It wasn't like this was the first time we talked about it, but that was the first time we sort of sat down and started giving real instruction on knowing that doesn't work either, right? But you do it anyway and I thought about what I said. Remember when they were debating between who was screaming, was it George or Trayvon? And I said, if anybody is ever chasing you, you scream the last 4 digits of your social security number. And we went over to 4057, 4057, because that's the way that I, as the mom, can be like, that was my baby. Ludicrous, right? Because none of these strategies works when people are determined to end Black life and determined to exonerate people who end Black life, right? But we do it anyway because we just keep trying to come up with something that'll work. And so this time around, our kids are old enough to be like, oh, here we go. 15 and almost 17, they're like, here we go again. They probably ain't gonna give you no time. So they know now. Now it's like, oh, here we go. And I have a husband who moved through the streets a lot, but I appreciate how he is with it, because I'm the one who's sort of steeping all the social justice talk and all the analysis. And he'd be like, look, it is what it is. I'm a Black man out here. I know what to do. I keep my pistol on me. If something happened, it happened. If it don't, it don't. I got life insurance. And I'm like, but we need to analyze. So I used to get really frustrated with that, because I'm like, you need to, as a Black man, you need to think about these things and talk about these things. But what I've learned over the years is that to honor that coping mechanism for him and to learn from him. And we were on vacation. Zakiya knows this. We just came from vacation. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. We stopped in Memphis. We went to Biloxi, Orange Beach, Pensacola. And so I didn't watch the trial and decided that what I would do during that time was to really value the luxury of time that I had with him, and to get on jet skis and get on parasails and just live a life where, you know, we hold space for our brothers and sisters out here dying and struggling. And we hold space for joy that it seems like so many people are determined for us not to have. So it makes me feel, I don't know if I should say this, but it makes me feel schizophrenic. Like on the one hand, I'm like, I should be crying. I did cry the day of the verdict. That's when I tuned in. When they said it's 1 hour, I was like, oh, I'm on it. Yeah. But all up until that moment, it was just like, I need to hold this space for us, because this is the thing that they don't want us to have. At the same time, I, of course, couldn't help but to weep and mourn for another one of our people lost. So I'm still in the confused space and looking forward to learning from y'all about how y'all are coping with these things as well.
Can I say really quickly, I appreciate you bringing that up, Heidi, like your back and forth with your husband and you learning to just respect where he at, like how he moved as a Black man. We move differently. We have to. And I have had to do that. And it took me, I want to say, a couple of years in before I learned and realized you don't navigate this world like him. He know what he need to be doing as a Black man. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think like, of course we love them. So, you know, women are fixers. Like we, you know, we think we know what's best. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and you have to like step back and like respect that, man. Like, okay, he got this. Tiffany, I saw you coming off mute. I just had to acknowledge that really quickly, because I know a lot of sisters who have been in marriages a lot longer than we have that still ain't learned that.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. And that's something that I learned about my husband during the pandemic. So that's something that I'm grateful for, is that time that we had together to really learn one another inside and out. But about the last 2 weeks, I'm so glad, I'm not glad, but Dr. Heidi, brought up the Trayvon Martin murder, and that was in 2012. I was much younger then, and I've been triggered ever since then. All of us have. Some maybe even before then with the Emmett Till murders, those who were alive back then and lived through that. Then with the, I'm sorry, his name leaves me. Can we all get along? Can we all just get along?
Rodney King.
Yes, with all of those things. And it's like, wow, I see why Black people are so triggered, because we continue living through these things with no sort of reconciliation, no sort of justice, no sort of anything. Even up until the last 2 weeks, I tuned in and out of the case. I wasn't watching it day in and day out, but I was tuning in and out. And then I'm very active on Clubhouse, so they were talking about it on there. So I was all up in those conversations, just, you know, hearing what different people thought about it, even from all around the world. And that's one thing that I appreciate about this case, is that it has made this a worldwide issue, to where these things are now in people's faces. It cannot be ignored. That's why now we're addressing the Queen of England and how she's treating her grandson and great grandchild and all those things. So I've just been triggered. Even after the verdict was read, we heard about what happened in Columbus. It was like we can't even take a breath, because there's always something going on. I just heard about what you said about the young man in Tennessee. I have been disconnected because I was working on a show that talked about all of these things. I just put a stage play on last week, and it's like we're just constantly triggered, and then we're disrespected and disregarded when we act out, or we yell out, or we scream out, or we say how we feel. And it's just a sad place to be in. And real quick, my husband, he's also a police officer. He is military, has served in several wars, has been all over this country, is very faithful to his country. And for him, this is so tumultuous for him, because he feels it in all areas. And he's a person in leadership with his department on base. And he has all of these white men, all of these white women that quote unquote report to him. And he's the only man of color on the force, and then there's another woman that I believe is of the Hispanic ethnicity, and those are only two people of color that are in this entire force. So he had to sit and listen to the rhetoric from these white officers, even during the election, and he has to keep his cool. And because of his position in the military, he can't talk to his homeboys about a lot of stuff. He can't go out and get a beer at the bar. All he has is me. So I have to take that on and feel that. And I definitely respect how you said you have to let them maneuver their own way. Cause I was like, well, hell, you can early retire, man. F this, I'm like, and he's like, no, I got it. But it is, you have to allow them to process it their own way. So that's how I've been holding up, just trying to, make it do what it do.
Others?
Yeah, I can definitely relate to making sure that, we definitely hold, our men up, but at the same time, protect our families as well, being single for so long and newly married, it's kind of hard to give up that power sometimes. So I really respect what y'all are saying about, those negotiations, and I'm hearing y'all and taking notes about that, because for so long it was just me and my son, and I was the mama and daddy, so I was doing all of that. And so now, being married and having a husband who carries several guns and is serious about protecting his home, it's just like, wow, okay, I have to stand back and also understand those consequences, because I know that, if he goes out there and, he has a quick temper, and, if somebody raises up on him or threatens our home, he's going to protect his home. And so just kind of like knowing that reality gets scary sometimes. And my son also carries a gun. And so, and I especially worry about him being a young Black male just existing. I used to be so paranoid, and I've gotten a little better as he's gotten older, but I used to be so paranoid when he was out and I couldn't get in touch with him. I was like, just text me and let me know you're okay. Because you just don't understand. If I'm sitting here and I'm texting you like, are you okay? And you don't say anything, I'm not getting any response. A million things are going through my head and I don't know what's going on. So just like being in that space, as a wife and mom, it drives you crazy and brings more trauma. And the more you hear about stuff going on, the crazier you get, because we know at a certain time, we can't protect them. They're on their own. It's up to God. And it's just like, whatever happens, because we know how this world is and what dangers are facing them. So it's a scary thing.
I echo everybody's sentiments. I appreciate the time during COVID. My husband and I have been able to just have some real conversations about race relations, about what's happening. And my husband was born in another country, so he's a Black man from the Caribbean. So there's a different mindset. Certainly there is the recognition of Blackness, but there's a different mindset because of the historical experience and understanding the history of Blacks in America, and being able to have that kind of conversation, and also recognizing who he is, and he comes with those values that they call machismo or whatever they want, that those traditional male values that says, if something happens, I'm the protector. I'm gonna put down the law and do whatever I have to do, and you fall back and say, okay. Again, being somebody who's been single for a long time, you kind of chart your own course, but no, you have to kind of step and say, okay, no, you got this. So definitely it's humbling, but it also is affirming to your husband at the same time, and that allow your partner to be that for you, and just to be able to really have these candid and sobering conversations about what's happening. And for me personally, it's just the word trauma. So, you don't know how to respond. You're happy, but you're not happy, because you're like looking around the corner, and literally in minutes, something happens. So, not being able to fully process, and thinking about how oftentimes when these things are happening to our community members, that sometimes families are not given the time to process. They're told, okay, tell the masses to calm down, tell everybody to be quiet. So people don't, oftentimes, the families that are grieving don't get the time to process, because there's this push for them to be apologetic, and the thoughts and prayers. We really have to really rethink the process of grief, and allowing the families that are impacted by this violence to really have a space to breathe and to do whatever it is that they want to do, and to respond and be in their feelings and be emotional. But the pressures from the media and all these other sources are so quick to want to force them, speak to the community and tell them to calm down. So
I,
I'm just kind of in that place.
no, I hear you. And to your last point, that I think that's why I love and appreciate Samaria Rice so much. She don't GAF. Like, you know what I mean? And she talked recently about her experience. I believe it was Ben Crump, an attorney, who told her she needed to tone down, that the public would view her as an angry Black woman. She needed to be a certain kind of way. And I could not imagine telling a Black woman who just lost her 12-year-old baby to be a certain kind of way in the way that she grieved. I mean, it's just, it was nuts. But that's why I appreciate her, because I remember, and I don't know if y'all remember this, but she refused to join the Mothers of the Movement when Hillary was running in 2016. She was like, man, I want justice. I'm not interested in all this BS and this bougie-ish. I want justice for my son. You know what I'm saying? And I just knew she was built different. You know what I mean? When I just saw how she was moving, you know what I'm saying? And I just, yeah, my heart goes out to all the parents, who have lost their children. But I don't know, Samaria is special to me, just in how unapologetic she is. One other thing I was reflecting on as you all were talking, because I, of course, like, see myself in a lot of what all of you have said. But somebody mentioned, I believe it was you, Nashon, just being worried, or it might have been Heidi. One of y'all, a couple of y'all actually said this, being worried when they leave the house. And that came up for me, I want to say maybe like a year ago. It might not even been a full year ago. And my husband is like a homebody. And one day he left, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. I ain't used to him being gone like late like that, or like, he's hilarious, because once it's dark, it's a wrap. He in the house, you know what I mean? So I was just like, where you going? I mean, like, the fear just rolls up. And because our car, the other thing is our car has dark tinted windows. So like I said, I usually don't worry about him, because he in the house by the time it's dark. So I was like, where you going? You sure you're gonna be okay? And he was gone, and I'm texting the whole time, you good? And then I call, you good? He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not, it ain't about like what you thinking. I'm worried about the police pulling your ass over. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about. And then I just had to sit with that for a minute, like, damn, I bet you other Black wives are going through the same thing. Have any of y'all ever experienced that or something similar?
I just went through that last week. So my son is 26, 6'4", about 235, but he's a teddy bear, right? And he got a new car, and I know that out here they pull those boys over, because there ain't no way that this boy got this nice car, and doing for himself. And so he left the house, and I try to let my son be a man. I really am trying to let go and not be that mom. And I find myself always asking him, like, where you going? Send me a text message. If you're not going to come home, text me, that kind of thing. And so one night he didn't text. So my husband got up and he was like, did you get a text from Chris? I said, no. And I'm checking my phone, and immediately that fear Like, oh my God, they don't got my baby. Now, mind you, my husband works for the city. So, you know, I would expect a call, you know, like, hey, just out of respect, hey man, you know, we picked up your son, da 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 da. But there wasn't even that. And so it's just that fear that my baby is somewhere on the side of the road, dead, off a cliff, you know, or they did something to them and drove them. Because we hear the stories, right? That they just happened to pick them up and they just happened to take them somewhere, you know. And where I'm at, our city is considered the 10th worst city in America for Black people. Right. I'm like, not the South. We in California, you know? And so to have that fear constantly, when you walk up, even with my daughter, I'm just like, I just need you to be careful. And then to have some of my white counterparts, and this is where I knew I had felt it, and I was just at this level where they're just like, I just can't imagine. Zakia, when I tell you that I have cussed a couple of my white friends out, because I'm just like, I don't want to hear that no more. I don't need you to tell me you can't imagine. You're in the system, fixed it. So nobody has to imagine, you know, let's start there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's when you don't want your children to have nice things because you feel it's going to draw attention to them and bring harm to them, that's a whole nother space to be living in, you know. And even with Greg, he drives a nice car, you know. He was followed by a police officer. He had to come home. I mean, I had never seen him so frustrated because he thinks because of his position, he's respected. But then you find out later, they don't respect you.
No,
you know?
they don't give a F.
And they followed him. And the report was, because I guess this was a new officer on the beat. Well, I thought he was a drug dealer. It was like, all you got to do is run his plate, fool. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's that kind of stuff that brings me such fear, because we've seen with Philando Castillo, right? He's sitting in his car doing what he's supposed to do, minding his business.
And had a license for his gun. Remember? Exactly. He had a license.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff, man, I sit with that all the time. I sit with it all the time. So when my son just walked in the house and my heart it was just like this, I just released. It was like, whew, good, he made it home. But I shouldn't have to live like that every day. You know, I just shouldn't.
I'm really glad,
Heidi.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because I try to be very careful. Well, not all the time. I'm going to be very careful today because this is not like a super well-informed, she has a PhD comment. It's just that Tony has never worked a 9-to-5 since we've been together. Like, there was a time when we lived in Indiana where he was cutting hair all day and towing cars all night. So I had to learn not to worry, because if I didn't, I would be dead early. I still might be if I don't get this together. My auntie just passed away. She was 61. My mother's sister, their father died when he was 59. On my mom's side, on my dad's side, you can make it to early 70s. On my mom's side, you might not make it to 60. So I don't have to, but as I approach 40 in a few months, I'm trying to be really thoughtful about the things I can't control regarding my health and my own lifespan. And Tony's life has not lent itself to, if I didn't learn how to rest, if I didn't learn how to sleep, I wasn't going to sleep. I wasn't going to rest. So I had to learn, and I hope we all just find ways that make sense to us, right? Like, what works for me doesn't work for everybody else. What works for our marriage doesn't work for everybody else. But stress will kill us. It does kill us. It only kills us. And I really just, for them and us, like, finding ways to do stress management, whether it's through your church, through your counseling, through your counseling and your church, your sister girl network, your homegirl, whatever it is, because but I used to be like that early, like in those towing days. Oh my God. Like, cause he looking at it like, we got these 2 kids, you in school, this cutting hair ain't enough. And he still feel like that. It ain't never enough. So I got to do this. And I'm like texting, calling. If he didn't answer, I'm calling hospitals, jails. And like you said, Zakia, I'm not worried about other chicks. Like, you think that's what I'm concerned about. Not to say I haven't had those moments too, because he fine as a motherfucker. But at the same time, I'm calling hospitals like, do you have anyone in there by the name? And I you know, we had conversations about that where it's like, this is gonna kill me. I can't live. To your point, Angie, I cannot live like this. And Zakia, you said earlier something I just wanted to touch on real quick about the doing enough. As I approach 40, the other thing too, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, you know, I became an academic because I like to read, I like to write, and I wanted summers off and I wanted salaried, not hourly. That was my whole reason for getting a PhD. I didn't even know nothing about writing books or nothing. It was just like, oh, you could do that. I want to be like the people in a different world, the TV show. I was like, ooh, that. So, and I used to feel it's extra, like this is not enough. I ended up at a PWI of all places. I'm like, oh, this is just not enough. This is not enough for Black people. And it ain't probably. I don't know if any one of us can do anything that would be considered enough, but trying to not situate the academy for Black men or women or non-binary people, not situating it as a radical space, a revolutionary space. Although people have made those arguments, I don't want to quibble over that, but opening that up as a possibility. Like I've hired about 6-7 people at Colorado College. None of them have been white, period. And it probably won't. For what? It's a PWI. So just trying to say, look, this is an option if you like this, you know, if you want to be that, you know, you want to be a teacher, you could be, you know, but just trying to open us up to like all the possibilities out there. Because if I don't get that together, Zakia, I'm going to spend the rest of my life feeling like I'm never doing enough ever. And so I just want you all to know, I think we're all doing the best we can. I don't want to say it is or isn't enough, but I think it's amazing and beautiful and brilliant.
I would have to say, first of all, Dr. Heidi's hilarious and I love her. Second of all, yes, I have those feelings all the time. Even because my husband likes to take walks. So even when he's taking a walk, I'm like, okay, I'm not timing you because you're gone. I'm just trying to figure out when should I be expecting you back. And then we have this thing because when he's at work, he can't respond often, but we have our little read receipts on. So he'll open the text to let me know that he's seen it. And then I know that he'll get back to it after, you know, when he can. So when those texts just stay on delivered, I get a little anxious, like, okay, are you doing a traffic stop right now? Because now he's got to the point that he'll even text me like, I have to go out to a scene because this is going on. I'm like, okay. And I get to shaka my high in and praying and all those good things that it all, you know, spans out. But it's an unfortunate reality for us. Now I'm even fearful for myself. I have a Black empowerment clothing line. Now I'm even scared to wear my shirts inside of Kroger, inside of the grocery store, especially being in Ohio, where we are a red state, where we know that this state, most of the counties surrounded by Dayton voted for a second term for 45. It's very nerve-wracking. So I want to get to the point to where it's finally like, okay, just breathe. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. But what I just don't want to ever get that phone call, that knock on the door, that your husband, your brother, your daughter, your son, your sister, your friend is a victim of these things that's going on. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because I haven't been, you know, connected to one of these murders, but I've been connected. And I can't even imagine, like how you were saying, Zakia, how they wanted Tamir's mother to act a certain way. Like, what do you mean? My son that was at the park is dead. What are you talking about? So it's very like, it's stressful. It's stressful. So yes, I have those moments all the time.
I was just going to touch on one thing that Karen had brought up was about having a spouse that's not from here. My husband is from Ghana, and he came to this country almost 10 years ago. It hasn't been quite 10 years, but the mindset is so different. For me, to be honest, I would say I would be more afraid for my husband than I would for my son, just because of the environment he grew up in. When you grow up in an environment where race is never a question, you are the majority, you're basically just focusing on the real, what I'm gonna do for my career, what am I gonna do with my life. It's never a competition about Black, white, or Asian, or whatever it is, because everybody's mostly Black. So coming to this country, some of the things that we've encountered, over the past 4 years, one particular instance where he was having a disagreement with somebody white at work, and his reaction scared me, because I'm like, you cannot react like that. And for him, he's like, why not? He was like, I'm right. There's nothing wrong with what I said because I'm right. And I'm like, it's trying to get into that mindset to him, like, well, you cannot react that way in that environment, because for one, you could lose your job or your life. And that's the part where it's trying to get to him, like, we're not in Ghana. This is America, where you are not special. And for me, that is such a hard place to try to tell a man who's, he's on the verge of 40. He is who he is, but trying to scale him back to say, you're a Black man here, and you're going to have to learn how to act like one here. That is just something that it's hard for him to grasp. And when he sees these different murders or things going on, he's like, well, why are you guys not doing anything? Why don't you get your gun and shoot? Why are you not doing this? And it's so hard, because you're like, well, that's nice for you to say that. But, for me, it's like, he's not seeing it from my angle. Like, okay, well, what do you think we've been trying to do for 400 years? He said, clearly just letting them take advantage of y'all. And he's like, I've got my gun. You think I'm scared to shoot? And I'm like, it's so hard. It's so hard, because to me, it's trying to take this man who has lived the majority of his life in a place where this is not a problem to a place where it's a problem. And I'm like, you're going to have to scale it back. You're going to have to scale it back. And it's hard trying to tell this man how to be a man, because you can't. And it's like, you're trying to give him the leverage to be who he is all the time. And you're like, it's not safe. It's not safe for you to be who you are. I'm like, just for the fact that we moved to a different part of Huber Heights. I know you know Huber is, a kid.
I used to live in Huber.
Yep. So we moved to a different part of Huber, which I guess is the more upscale, and ain't too many of us on the street. And here my husband is in his nice truck and all these different things. So we're making upgrades to the house, and all of a sudden our cars got robbed. And the thought that, should I call the police? Because I don't know that it would be worth it. I don't know that, because my husband, he would react in a bad way. For him, he's not afraid. He's like, I don't care what you are. He knows he's special. He knows he's special. So for him, it's almost to a point now. I'm like, should I even call? Because are y'all going to benefit me, or should I be afraid that you're coming to this house, wondering why am I here? For one, and two, once they look at my husband, it's not only is he Black, but he's African. So he definitely don't belong over here. So especially when you're hearing from neighbors like, oh, the Turks are moving in. I was like, who are the Turks?
Oh my God, girl.
I heard that, and I was so caught off guard. Like, what is a Turk? I was like, oh, you mean Turkish people? Oh, so what you're saying is you don't think my Black self should be living next to you, is what you were saying without saying it. So, and for my husband to hear that, he'll dismiss it and be like, you know what? I'm gonna go make sure I invite more Africans over our house just so she can see how special we are. And that to me, it's that mindset. I love that. I love the idea of instilling that, that strength into my son. But it concerns me too, because for him, he's just like, there's no limit for him. He feels that he has the right to, if it's the police, he'd pull a gun on them if he felt like he was right. And that's scary. That's scary, because he'll never feel like he's the minority ever. And it's just a hard place for me to be in, knowing that, dating someone, being with someone, marrying someone of a different culture and a race, to me, being Black American and dating a Ghanaian, it's like a different race because their mindset is completely different.
Wow. First of all, I just gotta say I love your husband. I am not mad, okay? Because listen,
this man.
I think like him. Listen, I think like him. I gotta tell y'all something real funny, like real talk, because I was like, that was my reaction. So Dr. Boyce had posted on his Instagram about our baby Makai Bryant in Columbus. And somebody, I guess, had watched the video and heard somebody in the background saying, "You shot my baby, you shot my baby," talking to the officer. And so somebody was in the comments like, I ain't gonna be saying you shot my baby because I'm going back in my house. Soon as you shot my baby, I'm going back in my house and I'm coming out and we all getting shot. I started cracking up because I was like, I thought I was the only one because I was just like,
you're not.
Oh my God, I'm at home. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Because like that's your child. Like we have a fundamental human right to protect ourselves and our children. That damn Constitution, I know it wasn't written for us, but I don't care. I'm sorry. We all getting shot there because I know they don't care either. So everybody getting shot because you just not getting ready to shoot my kid in front of me on some BS and we called for help. Oh no. I mean, and I ain't trying to act like I'm all this and that. But that's just my response.
Zakia, I gotta say, I was telling my students, like, I grew up Bone Thugs and Harmony, Ohio. We don't have me and Tony almost broke up over me talking crazy to the police because he from Memphis, so he like, you finna get us killed, and I'm like, what? And we all gonna die today, motherfucker. Literally, this is what I grew up with. Like, nah, you're not coming in my house. Nah, you ain't got no proper warrant. You got to get a warrant for that. Fuck you. I just went to jail talking crazy to the police in the Charlotte airport because he told me I couldn't cuss. And I'm like, well, bitch, fuck you, pig, bitch. But I get that that's not everybody's disposition. I'm not making a mandate. These are not recommendations. But what I'm saying is, everybody we know that done died by these police was mannerable, nice, and respectful. So I'm going out with a bitch, fuck you. And that's going to be that. If I got to die, it's going to be calling you everything I can think. And they threw me in jail because I said, Ma, I'm about to miss my fucking flight.
Yeah, but you'll be the one to make it. You'll be the one to make it.
Yeah.
And I did.
I'm going to die for something. It's going to be protecting my child. Because I think we have to show our children, because I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. And I've been thinking about this. Black children watching like what's happening, they see it too. Our children see what's happening. Absolutely. They should not have to feel like their parents are not going to protect them.
That's right.
Go ahead, Nasambi.
No, I'm agreeing with you because isn't it sad that we have to temper ourselves down to live? You know, we do, and I'm sure a lot of y'all do it in your youth groups too, the kind of know your rights, what to do if you're stopped by police, be polite, don't argue, keep your hand. Why do we have to do that? And you know, we tell ourselves, yeah, you know, we're just trying to save a life. We're going to fight it out in court later on. Make sure you get the badge name and number, blah, blah, blah. But we basically tell our kids to dummy themselves down and put their heads down to live.
Yes, master.
It's so sad.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to slavery for sure. It's a mindset that has been instilled in our ancestors, in our elders, in our communities, to where we have this invisible electric fence that's keeping us from setting it the fuck off. And I don't understand what it's going to take or who's going to be the one that lights that match. But when it happens, it is going to be an all-out war. I'm talking about cities being burnt down, we being declared a third world country, because that's just how Black people are. They need one person to swing and then everybody gonna follow up. But it's that mentality. And I think the younger the generations get, the more turmoil is going to be. Because I too, if my baby was laying in the street, it wouldn't have been no talking. I would have been either laying next to her in the back of a police car because I done assaulted, killed, shot, whatever, a police officer. I haven't brought myself to watch the video footage yet, but from what I'm hearing, the whole situation was just handled it's just gross. Just to hear the things that I heard about the police saying that Blue Lives Matter to the family, all of these things. It's like, so y'all really just don't care about us. This whole, oh, there's good cops. No, it can't be, because if this is a culture that is not even hidden, it's not even checked, then there's something that's very corrupt going on. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I so agree with y'all. And I just want to say I appreciate Dr. Heidi because that was me to my son last week, where he was like, Mom, if the verdict don't go right, what do you think's gonna happen? I said, oh, America will burn to the ground. I don't care what nobody say. America will burn to the ground. He was like, well, what if it was me? I said, I'd be on TV telling America, light this bitch on fire and let it go. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just, I totally feel all that. See, it feels so good to be around sisters that's like the fucking match. Because that was me. I was like, oh, I can't say that out in public because I might.
I would have probably lived.
That's what I'm saying. It's only gonna take one person, and everybody gonna follow up. It's gonna take one person.
Or what about this? If I'm the traumatized mom, right? Because part of me wants to honor the fact that I don't really know what I would do if that happened to me, right? I could be paralyzed. I might not even have been able to save my baby. I don't know. But I authorize everybody around me, physically and at a distance, to do whatever and to not allow anybody to force me into a position of like, let's keep the peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might not be able to handle nothing. I might be in the bed like, but if I start to get in this, I don't want anything. I authorize everybody around me to say, Heidi, now look, you stay in the bed then, because we gonna tear it up. Because I don't know what it's like to see your baby dead. I've never had to see any dead body, thankfully, ever in my life like that. Thankfully. So I do want to honor what it must be like for a mom or a father or a cousin, uncle, auntie to see a baby shot by the police. But for us to sort of mandate one another to be peaceful, to not turn it up. That's the part where I'm like, no. If that mother needs to mourn and cry and say, y'all, please, I just don't want no more drama. Okay, mama, but we gonna go do some drama. Okay, you go on the bed then, and you go to the funeral, and we gonna go to the street. I don't like what what y'all were saying earlier when they necessitate that we be peaceful and hopeful. And don't tell me what to do. Just let me do what's gonna
come. After you done killed my loved one, whether it's my husband or my son, you gonna tell me to be peaceful?
Don't tell me what to do.
No,
we need to mandate not desensitizing ourselves, because that's another thing I see so many Black people saying, oh, just another one, especially our children. Especially, I have a nephew who's 20 years old. They're like, oh, it's just another one. My son, 1 year old. I mean, you're going to grow up in this world where y'all don't even care anymore because, yeah, you're seeing it more. But that, to me, that's the one thing I want to make sure I'm teaching my nephew, I'm teaching my son, like, do never think that this is acceptable, that this is just what's going to happen to you, your Black self. This is not okay. And I feel like that's almost an environment by some of these young 20 plus, teenage kids. They're like, oh, it's all kind of videos, and oh, every time you turn around, there's another black kid dying. I'm like, don't desensitize yourself to this. It should never, ever just be like another one. Don't have that mindset. And that's the concern for me. That's the part where Black parents and Black family and just Black people in general, we just gotta keep pushing and not take that mindset of it's just another one. Because I see it all over the Facebook.
Yeah, right. I just think it's just the presence of the turn up. that has to stay in place. And although we get exhausted, we're tired, we can't afford to be tired. And it's because of that same turn up, which I think had something to do with that verdict. Because they're like, oh my gosh, can you imagine a judge? Okay, if I go this way, they're going to burn up that. If I go, so there's something to be said about turning up in whatever method you have to do that. So, hey, it
Period.
works.
Dot. And that's, I'm serious, because I'm so sick of the respectability by some of the people in our community. Oh, you tearing up your own neighborhood. Oh, we tearing up this property damage. Number one, we don't own ish. It ain't our own neighborhood. So that's number one. Number two, it works. Period. I said that on my live the other day when I found out about Ma'Khia Brown. I'm like, okay, Ohio, how many more black people got to get killed in Ohio? Oh man, I could count 10 in the last 10 years in Dayton alone. You know what I'm saying? Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus. Oh my God, Columbus is off the chain with killing black people. And I'm just like, the reason why, in my opinion, because last time Ohio turned up, Heidi, you probably remember this. Tiff, you might remember it too, was in the 90s in Cincinnati. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when the police was killing about 2 black men a week in Cincinnati? And it just went, and the city just burned for a minute. You know what I mean? Just that match went off. We couldn't take it no more. And I don't think since then, there in Ohio, there has been a rebellion. You know what I'm saying? And I do know, like, I mean, I get like, okay, we don't want to burn down grandma's house, or we don't want to burn down. I get that. But as far as like businesses and stuff like that, I ain't gonna, I guess I ain't gonna miss word. Hopefully people got insurance on their business. But the point is, America is about to burn. You know what I'm saying?
It's the point you just made. It's,
yeah.
Half these people don't even, that business that you renting out of, you don't own that business. You can move that business somewhere else. Let that white man cash his insurance in and keep it moving.
Right. And that's the other point. We don't even be owning the buildings. We paying a white person for rent anyway. F it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I want to segue. And Heidi, you brought this up earlier, and I was so grateful that you did that, because I'm thinking no, that too, yes. But no, about I'm now like we're like switching to like the impact of anti-blackness on our health, because that's what we're talking about. Heidi, you were talking about like how you had to make a decision, right? That you could not continue to live worrying about your husband and the type of work that he was doing and the late nights and things like that, because it was the stress of that and this anti-blackness was going to kill you. And that's real. And I a lot of times, and I gotta say this, I get so frustrated with people when Black people have strokes or heart attacks and they be real young. How many of us know young people having strokes and heart attacks? You feel me? That's stress. People be like, well, you gotta turn into a vegan diet. Now, no disrespect if y'all are vegans, but I'm just saying people be on all that BS, not thinking about the fact that, you know, it's anti-blackness that we go to work in these anti-black ass jobs. I ain't talking about my job, but I'm just saying anti-black ass jobs. And when you work for the government and you work for all these different corporations and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? That is taking years off of your life. Driving, worrying about the police, worrying about your children, worrying about your spouse. All of that is taking years off of your life. And trauma. A lot of us, and I know I speak for myself, Heidi, you and I have had some conversations about this, but I'm also from Northeast Ohio. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Me and Heidi the same age, 1981. And y'all remember what was happening in the early 80s. You know, Ronald Reagan, the biggest drug dealer this country has ever seen, was involved in funneling crack cocaine, where he was involved in the crack cocaine epidemic that targeted our communities. Both of my parents were impacted by that, right? So the early years for me were very traumatic until my great grandmama from Beloit, Alabama, took me in and raised me, right? Until she passed away when I was 15. So thinking about childhood trauma, they call that ACEs now. So I had ACEs, y'all. I had ACEs. Childhood trauma. The trauma, and that's my connection to DMX, like him, like just what he went through and how he never was able to heal. What I loved about that brother was his vulnerability. He smashed all of the stereotypes about Black men not being able to be vulnerable and still be masculine. You understand me? I was in tears for my brother because they were the same age, and my brother died early. My brother was 43 years old when he died from a heart attack, right? So I'm just talking about all of these brothers and sisters, but brothers, we got about 7 years on our men, I believe the statistics say. Our brothers ain't making it. I think the life expectancy for Black men is 69. And according to, I guess, last year, they said COVID shaved off another 4 years on that. Check me on that, Heidi. I'm not sure. But what can we be doing for ourselves, but also for our spouses and just all of our loved ones as Black people, to try to, the best that we can, right, manage the level of stress that comes with anti-Blackness. And this is a popcorn. I have some ideas, but I want to hear from y'all. Come on to something, yeah.
No, I was just, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I definitely think we need to take some time out to heal, because we do, experience these traumatic events. And the more it happens, it does become like, okay, here's another one. Here's another one. My son was born 2 weeks before Biggie Smalls was murdered. And I was pregnant with him when Tupac was murdered. And so, just kind of like going through that phase, and then, seeing Nipsey Hussle, all of these folks one after the other, not to mention folks that I actually know, in my own community, it gets really, really tough to deal with and to cope with. And I found myself during this COVID period, as people were passing, like, oh, okay, somebody else died. And I also volunteer with the NAACP, and I do the resolutions that they read at the funeral. And I was like, let me go and get the resolution together, and it just like became just an automatic thing. And I wasn't even processing that we lost 4 members to COVID. And not even processing it, just going on about my day. So that trauma is real. And the way that we as Black women just kind of like push stuff in and tell ourselves, well, we got to get on up and keep it moving. We don't take time to process and heal and deal with our shit in a real way. We just don't. We just pack it on in and keep on moving. So we definitely have to take that time to heal, have to give ourselves permission to be hurt and say, I just can't today. I'm gonna have to take a mental health day today because I can't deal with this any longer. And I got to take some time to myself and just chill out. We need to just do that more instead of trying to be the superhero and fix everybody except for ourselves.
I'm a strong believer in a mental health season. I forget the day, season, because sometimes you need a whole season of healing. And I'm a strong believer in therapy. I think it is an underused resource. I go every Thursday religiously. Do not call me at 12 o'clock. That is my time. I'm paying for it. So, there's nothing that can change my mind on that. I'll probably be in that the rest of my life. But what I will say, even for those who do seek therapy, is the difference between having a white therapist and a Black one. When I tell you that having a white therapist, she had me going through things that was so irrelevant to what I was going through, had me doing electric shock therapy treatments in my hand, having me thinking, well, what your daddy did here is the reason that you did. I'm like, I don't know how I even got to accept this nonsense. But placing more value in Black physicians, Black therapists, because there is also a stigma in the Black community that you need to get you a white doctor because they smarter, they know better, they this, they that. I can't put faith in this Black doctor because I don't know him. This is my thing. Black people have to work 10 times as hard for that education. So I should put my trust in somebody that I know had to work even harder than this white one right next to him to get to where they are. And when I tell you, it has made such a difference in my life, seeing a Black therapist who can actually empathize and understand where my problems are and what I'm struggling with. That to me is the realness. I'm not discrediting anybody seeing a white therapist. I'm not saying that they're not helpful, but I'm saying for me, it opened my eyes up to being able to say, you know what, I need to be able to rely more on people that look like me to help me. And that definitely opened the door to even my regular primary care health, because that was something I had never even considered before. You know, I've been seeing this one white doctor for 10 plus years. And I'm like, you know what? Every time I come in here, I'm spending 5 minutes in the room with you. I know I really have something going on, but I don't feel like we're addressing it because you don't care about me. You don't even understand what's happening when I leave this office. And I feel like I can't even have that conversation with you. So now I'm advocating, find somebody Black, find somebody diversified, even if you just don't even necessarily want Black. But that's one thing that I feel is completely something that we need to be changing in our communities, put more trust in us and how we can help ourselves.
Well, I just want to double snap that, because that's where I was going. That we got to get rid of these stigmas, and mama them gonna handle it, and let's pick up this ball and all of this other stuff. We really have to take a hard look at utilizing therapy for what it is. We got to get beyond this. There's something wrong with us if we go out and seek help. And sometimes that's harder for those of us who are in the helping profession. Even we have to listen to our own selves and say that we have to do that. And to piggyback, Sister Aja, as what you just said, incorporating some of these Afrocentric principles. So like this, just like this, a circle. Incorporating a circle of people who have similar experiences to be able to talk and to share and to have that space. And like using the old tradition, the barbershop and the beauty salon, although I know both be, but those are spaces where we can kind of be ourselves and talk about our stuff and work the stuff out. We got to get beyond, we can incorporate the home remedies and drinking this and all that, but we got to also do that with folks who can help us get from point A to point B so we can heal. We just got to get beyond ourselves and the stigma about being weak versus being strong, because we're so strong now, especially us as Black women. We're so strong now. We're carrying the world on our shoulder. Now we need somebody to carry us. So we really got to move beyond that and seek out help. Therapy, talking to a Black therapist, again, using the natural remedies that we normally do in concert with that. We don't want to knock the pastoral counseling, because I don't want my pastor watching me saying, oh my God. But in addition to that, we also got to utilize the professionals.
I echo what everyone else has said, for sure. Definitely agree. And I would like to add vacation and marijuana. Vacation and marijuana will save your life. It'll bless you indeed. I'm telling you, it will give you a fresh outlook, a new perspective. It will feel like a new day and a new dawning. Some things are culturally relevant and some things are needed. Vacationing, especially with your spouse, with your family, just removing yourself from everything that's going on, everything that you're dealing with, and just spending those times together to just connect and relax and to enjoy the moment, to get a breath of fresh air, some different scenery. That is the best. I before COVID, I was going on a cruise once a year, and I've gone by myself sometimes, and it feels so good just to be on that water, to just breathe and to just exhale. So definitely vacation and marijuana.
One spliff a day, keep the evil away. That's what they say. Now, I don't smoke. My husband smoked to the point where it's like, I don't even know. Like, people be like, I want to smoke with you and your husband. I'm like, oh, he don't smoke like that. This is what he do. Like, it's not like let's get high. What? Like, that's his normal state. If he ain't, then I'm like, please go get it together. But I to your point, Tiff, he always used to tell me, like, you need to do something because this stress and it's annoying and you nag and you just always worrying and everything got to be perfect. I'm a Virgo, just like my sister from the Northeast. So I'm like, this has to be like this. And I don't know why you had to put the pans in there like that. Just why? Don't y'all put the pans in the cabinet big at the bottom, then it go to small? Oh no, not him. It's just whatever.
Just like me, girl.
God damn. But you know what he used to say? But I didn't like how it made me feel, like, in my head. But I've worked with him and other people to find things that did work for me. Body highs instead of head highs. CBD is my thing. It's so many strands, and we live in Colorado, so you can get legal all you want, but your best shit's still gonna come from here in California. But get legal, please. But I just wanted to say my husband also sound like you and Nashon be a lot. Because I'm gonna say something real, maybe cynical, and I might change my mind, but this is how I feel today, and it's how I felt for the past like 3-4 years. I don't think racism is ever going to end. I don't think that white people will not ever. I don't. Sexism, I feel the same about everything. I just feel like these are our lives. I do. But the way it sort of, like, my students are like, that's so depressing. I'm like, no. For me, it's actually like freeing, because it's like, okay, how can I fight it in the ways that make sense for me? And mine is education and, just my family and friends and stuff. But also it's freeing because it's like, I don't have to spend every waking moment trying to fight that. If they gonna do, and that's how my husband is. When I come to him about my job, PWI, right? Predominantly white college. And I come to him like, these white people, he'll be like, and what? Yeah, duh. Like, what? Obvious. Like, that's how they gonna be, Heidi. So what you gonna do? And I'm like, well, why should I have to be the one who does this? And he's like, because you do. Or you can wait for them. You can wait for them to change, or you can figure out what you can do. So I decided, okay, I'm going to get tenure. I'm going to get in my way. I'm going to do it just like this. I'm going to do it like this. So I just think what you were saying, Nashon, it just made me think of that. Like, some stuff we can't control, some stuff we can't control. I think we should be in the streets, rebelling, fight, all this stuff. But I also think we should be enjoying each other, doing stuff like this, having a good time. When is the last time any of y'all played spades? When's the last time any one of us played dominoes? When's the last time any one of us went bowling, played pool? That's the stuff we try to do on a regular basis. Like, oh, we going to play pool. Like, it could be the day of the verdict. Tony gonna be like, hey, you still trying to go to the pool hall? What's up? And I'm like, this verdict. And you're like, okay, Heidi, but we can't, okay, do you want to go there and protest? Like, he'd be like, would you like me to help you get there to the protest? Because if not, we could still go bowling. And I'm like, how could you dare not be distraught? So I've really learned a lot from him. Like, I am, but my way of handling being distraught is to spend time with you. So allow me to have that time with you to help me cope with what is happening to my people too. I'm not going to sit and cry on the couch, Heidi. You do that. I want to go with you and knock the shit out of this 8-ball when I beat your ass. So I think that we have to, because they not going to quit this shit, y'all. I don't believe it. I don't believe they going to wake up one day and be like, you know what? Now that Heidi said what she said the way she said it, fuck Fannie Lou Hamer, but that Heidi, boy, she really put it in a way that she helped me see that.
Now they don't even see color. Now they don't even see it. I don't even see color.
So I'm sorry to ramble.
Colorblind.
I don't know what to do with them. So I want to focus on us, our health, our therapy, our joy, our partying, because they going to do them until they die. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get rid of them all. Even that turnstile. Zakia like, well.
Angie, you have thoughts? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to process. She said everything right there. Now, see, I don't smoke weed, and that's my own thing. But I don't criticize nobody that do, because I see how it can help. So I can see vacations and weed. And I'm leaving on vacation on Saturday. So yeah, I might, I just might have to try. But I was
Or
gonna
get
say
you some edibles. Edibles are great on vacation.
See, my kids.
Them edibles. We got to tell her the truth. You got to go slow on them edibles, especially if it's your first time.
And that's what my daughter did.
Don't eat the whole thing, just a little bite, and let it do what it do.
Look, I'll let Zakia know when I get back how that went. I'll let you know. But I have found, Zakia, Baba Wakesa and Mama Afia.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of what they've been doing, because I have them doing some work, with some groups of Black folks here where I am. And it's really about internal, looking in and really helping to really start dealing with racism. Because I'm with Heidi. It ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be here. And so I've been kind of doing that. I do go see a therapist twice a month. Because I did have to break through that stigmatism because I was one of them. Like, I ain't going to talk to nobody. You know what I mean? That's the house I grew up in. That's the hood I grew up in. Your therapist is, Pookie down the street. Just go talk to Pookie, sit on the porch and talk it out. That's how we used to do it. But for me, especially being with my husband and the stress that he's under, because you talk about stress, I worry about his health every day. He's 55. He's in a stressful environment. He deals with racism. He has to deal with all that stuff. I'm in education, a Black woman in education. How do you know? It's a whole nother ball game, And so I have found that talking through these things really has helped me. So I'm grateful for therapy. I really, truly am. I am truly grateful for it. And I would tell anybody, if it's not a professional therapist, at least find somebody that got some sense that you can talk through some stuff with, and if it leads you to weeds and vacation, great, because I'm telling y'all got me thinking now. I was like, this is going to be a nice trip.
And let me tell you, Antonio be like, see, and every time you do, it's so much better. You hornier. It's all around. It's just better. I'm telling you, it really, even if it's not all the time, like the loosening up of your whole self and letting go of the weight on you is good enough to do once a month. I don't smoke ever, hardly. I'm a tea. This is tea. This is weed. That blunt shit, Tony be on them. I'm like, but the loosening, just like my inhibitions, just being like, yes, let's do all that stuff. Because we tense. I can already tell in this room, shoulders is up to here half the time. Just, we'd be like, what is the plight of Black America?
Girl, stop talking about me. Stop.
Zakia will have the plight of Black. If we don't get Zakia in order, she gonna be the plight of Black America herself. And we gonna be needing to pull. I'm gonna ask you what Tony Cabin Bar. Are you sure you want to be well? Because I'm not so sure. We got too much weight on us as Black women. We trying to save the world. Even the ones we don't care for, right? The ones who do the voting with the. I fuck with them too, but like the ones who are like, vote, and that's going to be the way, and vote, and vote, and vote. Black women will save it. No matter what space you're in, the Black women in it are always trying to save everybody.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. No, so I have my thing, and so it's true, right? Like I didn't realize I had this Captain Save 'em mentality kind of thing, but it's because I love us, right? Like I love us, and I also have realized through counseling, I have also been through counseling as well. And I gotta say, like, it's hard to find a good one too. Like, you gotta find somebody you can really rock with and vibe with, and somebody that's gonna really take the time to really get to know you and your individuality. You know what I'm saying? And thankfully, I have had some good counselors. And since I moved here to the DMV region, I thought it would be easier because there's so many Black professionals here, right? Like, shit. I don't listen. everybody Black that we deal with. Like you have no excuse not to support Black businesses in the DC region. So like, it's just, yeah. But the thing that I do for myself that actually works for me about that tenseness, because it was my husband that discovered the fact that my upper body right here, he was like, man, what the hell? He's like, it feel like some damn bricks. And I didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying? And I go to massage therapy once a week. Yeah. Because I realize that I carry all of my stress in my back. I also live with chronic lower back pain. That is also from the stress and just like carrying literally everything on my back kind of thing, and how it shows up in your body physically. So that's the thing that I do. I also like hanging out with my girlfriends and vacations. Yes, definitely vacations. But yeah, I also don't smoke weed. That's my husband's thing too. Like, he don't give a damn. He gonna do what he gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And okay, baby. You know. But yeah, that works for me. The massage therapy, and I get 2-hour massages. I be on that table for 2 whole hours. So do.
I heard acupuncture. One of my homegirls who does,
I've been that.
Yeah, she does. Been doing sexual assault activism for like 20 years. So she does all the therapy, all the organic. I'd be like, listen, you might need some penicillin at this point, because this organic.
So silly.
I mean, she'd be having colds for 8 months.
She's so silly.
She
gonna watch this and get you.
She gonna kill me. I be telling her though, I'm like, you just take the penicillin. It's all right. But Zakia, I'm serious, because you carry a lot, and I know you love Black people for real. Whether me and Zakia disagree on a million things, get into it, all that stuff, come back, love each other again. We real sisters like that. But something got to be done about that, because you cannot save every Black person. These Black people out here talking crazy about that Black girl being murdered by that police. You cannot convince every single one of them. Some of them people gonna be determined, because you know why? Because somebody told them that some trauma that happened to them was their fault.
Was their fault. Yeah.
Because we gonna lose you in behind them, and I'm not having it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all people too, but not enough to lose us over us. You can't. What they say, everybody ain't gonna come.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I know, you know, Mama Harriet had to leave a few. I know. She did. It's hard though, you know, but I am getting better. I am getting better.
Yes. You are. You really are.
Yes.
You are.
I think what you're doing is what's
I'm gonna hit you up though, Heidi, because you're gonna be very shocked and happy about what I'm planning for my 40th, and I know we turning 40 around the same time, so I'm gonna hit you up, see if you want to go. What would you say, Asia?
I think what you're doing is just fine. I would just add that I just read an article about how sexual maintenance makes a huge difference in our life.
Oh,
as far as reducing stress. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm having enough maintenance to help regulate this stress in my life. I said, no, those are real conversations people don't have, but that is real. That is real.
Well, I would say it seems like, I hate to be stereotypical, but I would say it seems like men get that very well. Like they like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna feel a whole lot better.
Tony could do it every day. And can we have a conversation like here one time about our dads? Because I'm working on a documentary project about crack cocaine. So because I do have daddy issues for real. Like they've created intimacy issues, but you know what I realized? I have like pleasure blockers where it's like, I don't deserve to feel that pleasure right now because I didn't get everything done.
I do too. I have pleasure blockers too. I'm getting out of that though. Therapy helps. Yeah. Especially, and actual talk therapy and the massage therapy is helping, quite honestly. So yeah, you want to try that too. Do like a 1-2 punch.
Sex therapy is a thing too. I have done
sex therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's more like a needs-based therapy, based on my experience. But that is something that not just, it didn't only resolve sex, but also just in general my marriage, as far as making sure you meet each other's needs, whether it is sexually or financially or whatever area
I
in your marriage.
got a little cock blocker at my house though. I mean, we talking too much. My daughter,
She need to go to bed.
No.
listen.
Well, look, I'm just gonna tell y'all, if y'all have never done that reflexology massage, like if you just want to stimulate
that's sexual too, yeah.
Ooh, I introduced my husband to reflexology in Hawaii. Child, I thought my back was gonna break. He didn't know what hit him. I'm just saying.
I'm done. I can't. Okay, so we need to have a sex one. So we need to have a sex one. We need to have a parents one. Oh, y'all, can we do one? Does anybody have issues with their mom?
I did.
Okay.
Before she asked, yeah, I did. I mean, clearly, because neither one of them raised me. So yeah, right? I got all the issues.
Because can we have a space where we as Black women permit ourselves to be transparent about these issues with our moms? Because so many of my family members and friends have these issues, but we get made to feel like you got to honor them and you can't say nothing. And we've been dying to have that, Zakia. I swear, like we've been saying, we need to do this, like, because it's deep. Like I'm really confronting my stuff now. I'm like, yo, like, you don't really like me and I don't really like you. Like and that's like, even just saying that has been hard, but healing. No, I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna shut up and get off here so I can.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap. We can wrap now. Yeah, so I just want to say, like, this can actually be a thing, to be honest with you. Like, I would love for us, like, to just regroup and like just have this Black women space that's just for us, and we can talk about whatever topic you guys feel comfortable with. We can rotate in and out. Like, if you feel like you don't want to do the mama one, then that's cool. But then, I feel like the parent one, I heard all y'all say, pretty much that you have children or you are in a marriage with children or whatever. So yeah, we can. This can be a thing. This hit me up.
Ooh, blended families. Ooh, Lord.
Blended Ooh. Oh my God.
I feel like that could be a topic all by itself.
Listen. Listen. My husband might want to get in on that show because my ex-husband. Anyway,
he was doing
you
better.
Can count me in on that one.
You count me on the blend. Yeah, we can do the blended family.
Blended family. 5, 8, 9, and 2. So 5.
Right.
Not all the same baby mama.
Something else. And
there's another topic. Blended families with multiple baby mamas. There's one for y'all.
Ooh, okay. The multiple
baby mamas who still wants to be the only one. Who thinks he is the primary? I'm
okay. That's the next topic already because y'all ready to go another hour. Y'all ready to go a whole nother hour right now.
That's therapy. That's our therapy
session. That's group therapy.
Karen said that
group therapy.
Karen said that in consultation with professional therapists, we can do the community. This is a part of it. We don't want to exclude the professionals, but this is a part of it. And then go to church or the mosque. But this is a part of our therapy prescription from Karen. So.
Well, let's do a quick outro. I guess I will go first. This was beautiful. I'm so thankful for y'all. I needed this. You know what I mean? We hit on some stuff I did not think we was gonna hit on. So that's why it's even more beautiful. And like we done birthed other topics that we gonna come back and talk about. So it sounds like, blended family. And like I said, we can rotate in and out. But yeah, I just want y'all to let's commit. This is my outro. Let's commit to doing better about taking care of ourselves. Because to me, right, I'm learning, like they say on the airplane, put your mask on first before you feel me? That's my outro. Anybody can go next.
I'll just say thank y'all for letting me ramble on. I love to do it, and I appreciate doing it with y'all.
I appreciate meeting you ladies. I appreciate you inviting me. I think this was a very open, candid conversation that more Black women should have smaller communities that they can talk and share what's going on in their lives. Because I'm telling you, this outlet alone could help somebody with their daily struggles. Just having a moment to say, you know what, this is what's going on. This is how I feel. So I know this could be an outlet for me. So I appreciate it.
Well, I'll just say thank you so much, Zakia, for putting it out there to have it. I was like, nah, I probably shouldn't do that. But I'm so glad I did, because I've met some amazing sisters from around this country. And it has been so much fun. This has been a lot of fun. So thank you guys. And everybody out there watching, just like she said, let's take care of us first. Let's take care of us first. And then we can worry about the rest.
Oh, go ahead, Karen.
Okay. No, I'm just grateful. It's just we just been real, and you just have to do that. And I feel warm, and we got to do this more often.
Yeah, I echo what Karen said and what everyone has said. I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much, Zakia, for including me in this, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
I'm looking forward to the next one too. So I'm gonna be in y'all inboxes. Maybe I will, or Heidi, because I see we're all like connecting on social media too. We can start like our own little group on Messenger then, and then we can like figure out dates and times and stuff like that. I will say that evenings are better for me. I know that you all are different time zones. Like I know Angie and Heidi, you all are out west, so we can play around with times and stuff. And I know Nashon, you are an hour behind. So anyway, this was great. I just love y'all so much. This was fun, and I'm glad like we're birthing something. We got to figure out a name for ourselves too, girl. Because I'm just like, this is gonna be a thing. Like seriously, I think I'm on to something. We on to something. All right. We also had good. Yeah, I wanted to say that our audience, I actually did not put the comments up, is because it was so many of us, and it would have covered up Tiffany's face, or actually Asia's face, because the way the boxes were. But the audience has been great. Like there has been so much like pouring out of just support, men and women, you know what I mean, just in the comments, and it's just been all love, you know what I mean. So, and people, somebody came in and was like, when we were talking about the sex, they were like, what did we walk into? I was cracking up at that comment. So it was all love in the comments, just so y'all know. But thanks everybody for listening. Y'all know every Wednesday at 8 p.m. you can find me here. Same place, same time. And yes, we will be reconvening this group of ladies for another conversation. So hopefully y'all will join us. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.